Commander Vextrol stood at the viewing platform of the Dreckery Fortress, his 4 eyes scanning the barren landscape of Nexus 7. The orange-tinted sky cast long shadows across the rocky terrain as the planet's sun began to set. This world was perfect, rich in rare minerals, strategically positioned between 3 major galactic powers, and most importantly, uninhabited. According to all official galactic surveys, no intelligent life had claimed this world or its surrounding moons. Status report, Vextrol demanded, his scaled skin reflecting the fading light. Construction is at 70% completion, Commander, replied his second-in-command. Mining operations have begun in the northern quadrant. The defense systems will be fully operational within 6 planetary rotations. Vextrol nodded with satisfaction. The High Council would be pleased. This fortress would serve as the perfect staging point for Dreckery expansion into this sector. No one knew they were here. No one was supposed to show up that 200 million miles away. Major William Carter of Earth's Special Orbital Forces stared at the holographic display in the dimly lit command center of the Ed's Nightshade. The stealth vessel had been monitoring the alien activity on Nexus 7 for the past 3 weeks, gathering intelligence while maintaining complete radio silence. "Play it again," Carter ordered, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of the display. The recording showed the alien fortress from multiple angles, captured by microscopic stealth drones that had infiltrated the complex. Carter had been in the military for 25 years, but the sight of the fortress still amazed him. Actual aliens, building an actual fortress, on a planet that, by all rights, should have been within Earth's sphere of influence. They have no idea we're here, do they? Asked Lieutenant Samantha Reeves, the drop team commander assigned to the mission. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, her expression serious as she studied the fortress layout. "No," Carter replied. "As far as the galactic community knows, humans are still figuring out how to reach Mars efficiently." He smiled grimly. Little do they know we achieved faster-than-light travel 15 years ago. Earth had made a strategic decision after detecting alien communications decades earlier, rather than announcing their technological breakthroughs. To the stars, they chose to watch and learn from the shadows. Stealth probes were sent to neighboring systems. Transmissions were intercepted and decoded. Slowly, Earth built up a comprehensive understanding of the galactic political landscape while developing military technology that could stand against potential threats. "The Dreckery don't concern me," said General Patricia Monroe as she entered. The command center. Everyone immediately stood at attention. Monroe was a legend, the architect of Earth's shadow space program and the commander of its first interstellar fleet. "What concerns me is what they're building." She gestured to the holographic display, which zoomed in on a massive weapon array under construction at the heart of the fortress. "Intelligence suggests this is a long-range quantum destabilizer," Monroe continued, "and it happens to be pointed directly at our mining operation on Nexus 7's second moon. For the past 5 years, Earth had maintained a small, completely automated mining facility on that moon. The rare minerals extracted there were crucial for the new generation of Earth's FTL drives. If the Dreckery discovered it, or worse, fired that weapon, "We've been watching long enough," Monroe declared. "It's time to act. Time to let at least one alien species know that Earth is not as primitive as they believe." She turned to Carter. "Major, prepare Operation Downpour." Carter nodded. Operation Downpour was a contingency plan developed years ago for exactly this type of situation, a surprise assault using drop pods and Earth's most elite soldiers. The plan would utilize Earth's greatest military advantage, the element of Avon. Complete surprise. "Lieutenant Reeves," Monroe said, turning to the younger officer, "your drop shock teams will spearhead the assault. Primary objective is to secure the command center and neutralize that weapon system. Secondary objective is to capture their database intact. Reeves stood straighter. Yes, General, my teams are ready. They better be, Monroe replied, because after today, the galaxy will know we exist. In the ship's armory, Lieutenant Reeves addressed her squad as they prepared their equipment. Sergeant Ryan Nichols checked his assault rifle with practiced efficiency. Tech specialist Kelly Ward calibrated her electronic warfare suite. Demolitions expert Daniel Rodriguez packed specialized charges designed to breach alien structures. Medic Alan Porter organized his field medical kit, which contained treatments developed for both human and potential alien injuries. Listen up, Reeves said, her voice clear and commanding. We've trained for this moment for years. Every simulation, every drill, every late night studying alien biology and technology has led to this. She activated a holographic display showing the fortress layout. We'll drop here at these coordinates. Our pods will penetrate the outer defenses before they can raise shields. Team Alpha, led by myself, will secure the command center. Team Beta, under Sergeant Nichols, will target the power core. Team Delta, led by Private Zoe Franklin, will secure the perimeter and prevent any communication with outside forces. As soldiers nodded, their faces serious but determined. They represented Earth's finest, selected not just for their physical abilities, but for their psychological resilience. Each had been carefully evaluated for their ability to handle the reality of alien contact. The Dreckery don't know we exist. Reeves continued, they have no idea what we're capable of. By the time they figure it out, we'll already have control of their fortress. She looked at each member of her team. Any questions? Private Porter raised his hand. What about civilians? Ma'am? Intelligence indicates this is a purely military installation, Reeves answered. But standard first contact protocols apply. We use non-lethal force when possible. We are soldiers, not murderers. As the briefing concluded, Major Carter's voice came over the intercom. All drop teams, prepare for deployment. Operation Downpour commences in 30 minutes. In her private moment before battle, Reeves checked her powered combat armor one final time. The suit represented the pinnacle of Earth's military technology, enhanced strength, built-in weapon systems, adaptive camouflage, and shields designed to withstand alien energy weapons. As she sealed her helmet, she thought about the significance of what they were about to do. After decades of silence, humanity was about to announce its presence to the galaxy, not with a diplomatic message, but with soldiers raining from the sky. The ship's alarm sounded, signaling the teams to board their drop pods. Reeves joined. Her squad, each soldier securing themselves in their individual pods. Through the small window, she could see the curve of Nexus 7 below, the alien fortress, a tiny speck on its surface. All teams, prepare for drop, came Captain Frank Delgado's voice from the bridge. Commencing deployment in 3, 2, 1... The floor beneath the pods opened, and Reeves felt the familiar sensation of freefall as her pod was launched toward the planet below. Around her, hundreds of similar pods burst from the belly of the ship, streaking through space like a meteor. Shower. On the fortress below, an alert Dreckery technician noticed unusual readings on the atmospheric scanner. Sir, I'm detecting multiple objects entering the atmosphere at high velocity. Commander Vextrol looked up from his reports. Meteorites? No, sir. The technician's voice wavered. The trajectory is too precise. They're heading directly for U.S. No one was supposed to show up, but Earth soldiers were about to rain down. The drop pods streaked through Nexus 7's atmosphere, leading fiery trails across the orange sky. Inside her pod, Lieutenant Samantha Reeves monitored the tactical display as the fortress grew larger on her screen. The pod shook violently as it cut through the air, but the stabilizers kept it on course. She had done this dozens of times in training, but never on an alien world, never against an actual alien fortress. 30 seconds to impact, the pod's eye announced in her ear. Prepare for deceleration. Reeves checked her weapon one last time. The advanced rifle was loaded with adaptive ammunition, designed to adjust its impact force based on the target's resistance. Non-lethal for capturing prisoners, but capable of penetrating armor if necessary. Around the fortress, alarm klaxons began to wail. Security Chief Drakmer rushed to the command center, his four-fingered hands moving rapidly over the control panel. "Report," he barked at the technicians. "Unknown objects falling from orbit," one replied, fear evident in his voice. "They're too small for ships, too controlled for meteors." On the main screen, hundreds of objects appeared as red dots, all converging on the fortress. Drakmer's eyes widened as he realized what they were seeing. "Raise shields," he ordered. "Sound the invasion alarm." But it was too late. The fortress shields were still not fully operational, with only the eastern quadrant protected. The rest of the complex lay exposed to the incoming threat. Commander Vextrol burst into the room. "What is happening?" "We're under attack," Drakmer answered. "But there are no ships in orbit. Just these ... pods." Vextrol stared at the screen in disbelief. No known species used this kind of assault tactic. Who would dare attack a Druckery military installation? A first wave of pods slammed into the outer perimeter of the fortress. The reinforced shells cracked open, and Earth soldiers emerged in powered combat armor. Private Zoe Franklin was among. The first to touch the alien soil, her armor adjusting instantly to the slightly higher gravity of Nexus 7. "Perimeter team, form up." She called to her squad as they emerged from their pods. "Secure the communications array." The Druckery guards responded quickly, rushing to defend the fortress. They fired energy weapons that lit up the darkening sky with bursts of green light. But they were surprised when the human armor absorbed much of the energy. "They're using thermal pulse weapons," Franklin reported over the com. "Adjusting shields now." Inside the command center, Vextrol watched in horror as more and more of the strange soldiers appeared on the security feeds. They moved with precision and purpose, clearly following a well-planned assault strategy. "Who are they?" he demanded. "Where did they come from?" No one had an answer. According to all galactic intelligence, no nearby species had this level of technology or military capability. Lieutenant Reeves' pod crashed through the roof of the main building, along with 5 others from her team. The pod's shock absorbers cushioned the impact before the front panel blew open. Reeves leapt out, weapon ready, scanning for threats. "Team Alpha, sound off," she ordered. One by one, her team members reported in. All had landed successfully. Sergeant Nichols' voice came over the comm next. "Team Beta has landed at the power core." Encountering heavy resistance, Reeves checked her tactical display. The fortress layout matched perfectly with their intelligence. "Move to secure the command center. Non-lethal force where possible. We need prisoners for questioning." The team moved through the corridors of the alien structure. The walls were made of a strange metallic material that seemed to shift colors slightly as they passed. Tech specialist Kelly Ward scanned everything with her equipment. "Their technology is advanced, but not beyond what we expected," she reported. "I'm detecting their internal communication system. I can tap into it if we reach a terminal." They encountered their first Druckery soldiers at a junction. The aliens were tall, with scaled skin and 4 eyes spaced around their elongated heads. They carried energy weapons and wore light armor. "Halt!" Reeves called out, using the Druckery language she had learned from intercepted communications. The aliens froze in shock at hearing their own language from this unknown invader. That moment of surprise was all the humans needed. Private Rodriguez fired a stun grenade that released a pulse calibrated to Dreckery neural patterns. The aliens dropped unconscious to the floor. "Secure them," Reeves ordered. Medic Porter moved forward to apply restraints specially designed for Dreckery physiology. In orbit, Major Carter monitored the assault from the bridge of the ED's Thunderbolt. The ship had decloaked after the drop, revealing itself to any Dreckery sensors. 2 smaller Earth vessels also decloaked, taking up defensive positions. "All teams have landed successfully," reported the communications officer. "Fortress defenses at 30% capacity and falling." Carter nodded with satisfaction. The element of surprise had worked perfectly. "Deploy the second wave. Tell them to focus on securing the weapon systems." More pods launched from the ships, heading toward the fortress below. On the ground, Sergeant Nichols' team fought their way through heavy resistance near the power core. The Dreckery had regrouped and were putting up a fierce defense. "We need back up," Nichols called over the comm as energy blasts struck the wall beside him. "They've set up a barricade at the entrance to the core." Private Rodriguez moved forward, deploying a portable shield generator. The blue energy field expanded, creating cover for the team. "I've got a bypass route," Ward said, looking at her scanner. "Maintenance tunnel, 30 meters to our left." Nichols nodded. "Franklin, can your perimeter team provide a distraction?" "Already on it," came Franklin's reply. Moments later, explosions rocked the far side of the fortress, drawing Dreckery forces away from the power core. Lieutenant Reeves and her team pushed closer to the command center. They encountered less resistance now, as most of the defenders had been pulled away to deal with the other human teams. "Command center ahead," Ward reported. "I'm detecting 12 life forms inside." Reeves nodded to Rodriguez, who prepared a breaching charge. The special explosive was designed to disable electronics temporarily without causing structural damage. "Ready on your mark, Lieutenant," he said. "Breach," Reeves ordered. The charge detonated with a flash of blue light. The door to the command center buckled and fell inward. Reeves led the charge, her weapon at the ready. Inside, Commander Vextrel and his officers turned in shock as the humans stormed in. Security Chief Drekmer reached for the emergency transmitter, their last chance to call for help from the Dreckery fleet. "Stop him!" Reeves shouted. Ward fired a precision shot that destroyed the transmitter console in a shower of sparks. The command center fell silent as the human soldiers secured the room, weapons trained on the Dreckery officers. Reeves stepped forward, removing her helmet to reveal her human face to the aliens. Vextrel stared at her in disbelief. "I am Lieutenant Samantha Reeves of Earth's Special Orbital Forces," she said in perfect Dreckery. "Your fortress is now under our control." Vextrel's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of confusion in Dreckery. Body language. Earth? The primitive world in the Sol system? Reeves smiled slightly. Not so primitive after all. Outside, more Earth soldiers secured the fortress. The Dreckery weapon that had been aimed at Earth's secret moon base was now under human control. In less than 30 minutes, the entire operation had been secured with minimal casualties on both sides. Major Carter's voice came through on Reeves. "Come. Command center status?" "Secured," Reeves replied, looking at the captured Dreckery officers. "And you'll never believe who's eager to talk to us." 2 hours after the initial assault, the Dreckery fortress had been completely secured by Earth forces. The human soldiers moved with purpose through the alien corridors, setting up defensive positions and gathering intelligence. The Dreckery prisoners were held in their own detention area, treated firmly but without cruelty. In what had been the Dreckery command center, General Patricia Monroe arrived to personally oversee the next phase of the operation. Her shuttle had landed on the fortress's main platform, escorted by 4 fighter craft that now patrolled the airspace around the captured facility. Monroe strode into the command center, her uniform immaculate, her posture straight despite her 60 years of age. The soldiers present snapped to attention. Lieutenant Reeves stepped forward to report. "General, the fortress is secure. Casualties are minimal. 3 soldiers with minor injuries, no fatalities. We've taken 47 Dreckery prisoners, including their commander." Monroe nodded. "And the weapon system?" "Neutralized, ma'am. Tech teams are studying it now. It appears to be even more powerful than our intelligence suggested." "Show me." Lieutenant Reeves led the general to a large, holographic display that showed the schematics of the Dreckery quantum destabilizer. Tech Specialist Ward was already there, working on the alien systems. She had removed her combat armor and wore only the black utility uniform underneath, her fingers moving quickly over the alien controls. "General Monroe," Ward said, looking up briefly, "I've accessed their weapons database. This device isn't just designed to hit targets on Nexus 7's moon. It could potentially reach targets in neighboring star systems." Monroe's expression remained calm, but her eyes narrowed slightly. "That changes things. Are there more of these weapons elsewhere?" "According to their files, this is a prototype, but they have plans to build a network of them across this sector." Monroe turned to one of her aides. "Contact Earth Command. Tell them we need to accelerate Phase 2. In the detention area, Commander Vextrol sat alone in a cell. The force field glowed faintly blue, containing him while still allowing air to flow freely. He had been stripped of his weapons and communication devices, but was otherwise unharmed. The door to the detention area slid open, and Major Carter entered with 2 guards. He dismissed the guards with a nod and approached Vextrol's cell. "I am Major William Carter of Earth's Special Orbital Forces," he said in Dreckery. "Are you comfortable, Commander?" Vextrol's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "As comfortable as one can be when imprisoned by a species that shouldn't exist at this level of technology," he replied. "How is it possible that humans have achieved space travel of this sophistication?" "Our latest intelligence reports indicated you were at least a century away from developing faster-than-light capabilities." Carter smiled slightly. "We've been keeping secrets, watching, learning. Your people and others have been broadcasting signals across the galaxy for centuries. Did you think no one was listening? But the energy signatures, the technological markers, we would have detected them." "Not if we designed our technology specifically to avoid detection," Carter said. "Earth made a decision long ago. When we realized we weren't alone in the universe, we chose to observe before revealing ourselves. We've had faster-than-light capability for 15 years, stealth technology for 20. Vextrol stood, moving closer to the force field. "Why? Reveal yourselves now? Why attack this facility?" Carter's expression hardened. "Because you were building a weapon aimed at our mining operation on Nexus 7's second moon. Did you think this system was uninhabited?" The Dreckery commander's eyes widened. "You have a presence in this system?" "Our surveys showed no signs of intelligent life." That was the point. Elsewhere in the fortress, Sergeant Nichols and his team secured the power core. A massive chamber hummed with energy, bathing everything in a pulsing blue light. "Private." Rodriguez whistled as he looked up at the towering energy conduits. "This could power half of North America," he said. "And it's all ours now," Nichols replied. He checked his tactical display. "Perimeter teams report no sign of Dreckery reinforcements. Looks like we caught them completely isolated." Private Franklin's voice came over the comm. "Sergeant, we've found something at the south entrance. You might want to see this." Nichols left the power core in the capable hands of his team and made his way to the south entrance. There, Private Franklin and two other soldiers stood near what appeared to be a large hangar door. "What have you got?" Nichols asked. Franklin gestured to the door. It was locked down tight, but Ward sent us the override codes. "You're not going to believe what's inside." The massive door slid open, revealing a cavernous space beyond. Inside were 5 sleek spacecraft, each about the size of a small passenger jet. They had no visible engines, just smooth, dark holes that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Are those what I think they are?" Nichols asked. Franklin nodded. "Stealth scout ships. According to the database, they're equipped with cloaking. Technology even more advanced than ours. The Dreckery were planning to use them to map Earth's defenses." In the command center, Lieutenant Reeves worked with Kelly Ward to download the Dreckery database. The amount of information was staggering. Technical specifications, star charts, diplomatic communications, biological data on dozens of species. "This is the intelligence find of the century," Ward said, her eyes wide as she watched the data flow across the screen. "Everything we've wanted to know about the galactic community, right here." Reeves nodded. "Focus on their military deployments. First, we need to know if reinforcements are coming." Ward's fingers flew over the alien keyboard. According to their communications log, they've been maintaining radio silence as part of their stealth protocols. Their supply ship isn't due for another 2 weeks, and the main fleet... Wait. She paused, looking more closely at the data. "This can't be right. What is it?" "The main Dreckery fleet isn't just coming to establish a base. They're preparing for war. These are invasion plans, Lieutenant. They're planning to attack the Arcturus Coalition." Reeves frowned. The Arcturus Coalition was another alien alliance that Earth had been monitoring from afar. They controlled territory in the next sector over, and all indications were that they were more peaceful than the Dreckery. "So we've stumbled into the middle of an impending interstellar war," Reeves said quietly. General Monroe joined them, having overheard the last part of their conversation. "Not stumbled, Lieutenant. This is precisely why we've been watching from the shadows. The galaxy is a dangerous place, filled with species that have been fighting each other for centuries. Earth needed to be prepared before we revealed ourselves." She studied the Dreckery plans on the screen. "This changes our strategic position. We now have leverage with both the Dreckery and the Arcturus Coalition." "Ma'am?" Reeves asked, not entirely following. Monroe's eyes gleamed with the calculation of a seasoned strategist. "The Dreckery now know we exist, and that we're technologically advanced enough to capture one of their military installations. The Arcturus Coalition doesn't know about us yet, but they would certainly be interested to learn about the Dreckery invasion plans." She smiled slightly. "Sometimes the best way to secure peace is to hold the secrets of those who would make war." Outside the fortress, the twin suns of Nexus 7 began to set, casting long shadows across the alien landscape. Earth soldiers patrolled the perimeter, their armor glinting in the fading light. Above, the EDS Thunderbolt and its escort ships maintained their position, a visible reminder of Earth's unexpected military presence. Inside her temporary quarters, Lieutenant Reeves removed her armor and sat on the edge of the bed. She had been awake for nearly 30 hours, running on stims and adrenaline. Now that the immediate danger had passed, fatigue was setting in, but her mind was still racing. Her cum unit chimed. It was Major Carter. "Lieutenant, get some rest. You've earned it, but be ready at 0600 hours tomorrow. General Monroe wants you present when she begins negotiations with Commander Vextrel." "Negotiations, sir?" "Yes, Lieutenant. Today we showed the galaxy that Earth can fight. Tomorrow we show them that we can talk too. This is just the beginning." Reeves acknowledged the order and lay back on the bed. Through a small window, she could see the unfamiliar stars of a distant part of the galaxy. For years, she had trained for this moment, humanity's first official contact with alien life. No one had expected it to be in battle, but perhaps that was fitting. Earth had learned long ago that respect often came from strength. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But today, Earth's soldiers had rained down from the sky and changed the galaxy forever. The next morning arrived quickly on Nexus 7, with its shorter rotation period giving only 6 hours of darkness. Lieutenant Reeves woke to the unfamiliar red-orange light streaming through the small window of her quarters. For a moment, she had to remind herself where she was, on an alien world, in a captured fortress, making history with every passing hour. She dressed quickly in her formal uniform rather than combat armor. Today was about diplomacy, not warfare. As she made her way to the command center, she passed Earth soldiers who nodded respectfully. Many were still in awe of their surroundings, taking in the alien architecture and technology with wide eyes despite their professional demeanor. The command center had been transformed overnight. The Dreckery symbols and controls remained, but Earth equipment now integrated with the alien technology. Technicians worked at both human and Dreckery terminals, creating a strange hybrid of the two civilizations' technologies. General Monroe stood at the center of the room, reviewing reports on a holographic display. She looked up as Reeves entered. "Lieutenant, good timing. Our guest will be arriving shortly." Reeves nodded. "Commander Vextrol, ma'am?" "Yes. Major Carter has been speaking with him through the night. It seems our Dreckery friend is more reasonable than we expected." Monroe's expression was carefully neutral, but there was a hint of satisfaction in her eyes. "He's realized that his position is compromised." A few minutes later, Commander Vextrol was escorted into the command center by 2 guards. He looked tired but composed, his scaled skin slightly dull from stress. He wore no restraints, a calculated show of respect. "Commander," General Monroe said, stepping forward, "thank you for agreeing to this meeting." Vextrol's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, before focusing on Monroe. "Your Major Carter can be very persuasive, and it seems I have much to learn about humans." Monroe gestured to a conference table that had been set up to one side of the command center. "Shall we?" The 2 leaders sat across from each other, with Lieutenant Reeves and Major Carter flanking Monroe. Kelly Ward sat nearby with a data tablet, ready to reference the Dreckery database as needed. "Let me be direct, Commander," Monroe began. "Your presence in this system is a problem for us. The weapon you are building threatened our operations. We had to act." Vextrol nodded slowly. "So I understand. Major Carter explained your secret presence in the galaxy. Most impressive. Few species could have hidden their technological advancement so completely." "We've had good teachers, though they didn't know they were teaching," Monroe replied. "We've been studying galactic transmissions for decades, learning languages, technology, politics, and preparing for war," Vextrol added. Monroe's expression hardened slightly. "Preparing for survival. The galaxy is not a peaceful place, as your own invasion plans for the Arcturus Coalition demonstrate." At the mention of those plans, Vextrol's posture stiffened. "You've accessed our secure files." "All of them," Ward confirmed from her position at the table, "including the tactical assessments of Arcturus defenses, projected casualty figures, and occupation protocols." Vextrol was silent for a long moment. "What do you want?" he finally asked. Monroe leaned forward. "An arrangement. Earth is ready to reveal itself to the galaxy, but on our terms. We don't want war with the Dreckery Empire. We don't want war with anyone. But we will not be ignored or threatened." "You've made that abundantly clear," Vextrol said dryly, gesturing to the human-controlled command center around them. "We propose a treaty," Monroe continued. "Non-aggression between Earth and the Dreckery Empire. recognition of Earth's territorial claims in this system, and ... She paused for effect. We keep the information about your planned attack on the Arcturus Coalition to ourselves. Vextriel's eyes narrowed. Blackmail? Incentive, Monroe corrected. Think of what would happen if the Coalition learned of your plans. They would strike first, and your empire would be caught unprepared. Before Vextrol could respond, alarms began to sound throughout the fortress. Lieutenant Reeves jumped to her feet, moving to a nearby terminal. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system, she reported. Dreckery signatures. Vextrol looked surprised. That's not possible. No ships are scheduled to arrive for at least 2 weeks. Major Carter accessed another terminal. 3 warships approaching at sub-light speed. They'll reach Nexus 7 in approximately 4 hours. General Monroe turned to Vextrol, her expression now cold and calculating. Care to explain, Commander? I sent no distress call, Vextrol insisted. It must be a scheduled patrol that was moved up without my knowledge. Or ... His 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he realized another possibility. The automated systems. If the fortress detected a significant anomaly, it could have sent a burst transmission automatically. Ward was already checking the logs. He's right. When our pods breached the outer defenses, the system sent a compressed data packet. Short range, low power, but enough to reach a nearby relay station. Monroe stood, suddenly all business. Lieutenant Reeves, alert all Earth forces. Prepare defensive positions. Major Carter, get our ships ready. We may need to evacuate. She turned back to Vextrol. It seems our negotiations have a new deadline, Commander. Across the fortress, Earth soldiers rushed to prepare for potential combat. In the hangar bay, Sergeant Nichols and his team worked with technicians to ready the captured Dreckery scout ships. Can we fly these things? Rodriguez asked, running, his hand along the smooth hull of one of the alien vessels. Ward sent over a translation of the control systems, Nichols replied. Our pilots are studying them now. If we need to, we'll use them. Private Franklin approached, carrying a datapad. Sergeant, General Monroe wants these ships moved to the underground hangar. If those warships scan the fortress, she doesn't want them to know we've captured their stealth tech. In the command center, the atmosphere was tense but controlled. Earth officers moved with purpose, preparing for all possible outcomes. Lieutenant Reeves coordinated the defensive preparations, assigning teams to key points throughout the fortress. General. Monroe and Commander Vextrol continued their discussion, now with greater urgency. Those ships will attack as soon as they realize what's happened, Monroe said, unless you tell them not to. Vextrol considered his options. And why would I do that? Because war between our species would benefit neither of us. Because the deal I offered you is better than the alternative. And because I think you're intelligent enough to see the bigger picture. Which is, Monroe leaned in. The galaxy is changing, Commander. Earth is emerging from isolation. The Arcturus Coalition is strengthening. New alliances are forming. Old enemies are making peace. This is not the time for the Dreckery Empire to make a powerful new enemy. She gestured to a holographic display showing the approaching Dreckery warships. Those 3 ships are no match for our fleet, which will arrive within the hour. We've been holding them in reserve, cloaked, at the edge of the system. Vextrol's expression showed surprise once again. You have more ships? Much more than you've seen, Monroe confirmed. This was just the advance force. It was a bluff. The Earth fleet was indeed on its way, but wouldn't arrive for at least 6 hours. But Vextrol had no way to know that. The Dreckery commander was silent for a long moment, weighing his options. Finally, he spoke. If I order those ships to stand down, to accept your presence here without fighting, what guarantees do I have? That your terms will remain the same? You have my word, Monroe said simply. And this, she handed him a data crystal, the complete record of our negotiations, including our terms. Send it to your superiors along with your recommendation. Vextrol took the crystal, turning it over in his scaled hands. You're taking a significant risk, trusting me. Yes, Monroe agreed. But calculated risks are how humanity has survived this long. She stood. You have 3 hours to decide. Commander, for both our sakes, I hope you choose wisely. As Vextrol was escorted back to his quarters to consider the offer, Lieutenant Reeves approached General Monroe. Ma'am, do you think he'll cooperate? Monroe looked out at the alien landscape, visible through the command center windows. He's a pragmatist, Lieutenant, and pragmatists understand the value of survival. She turned to face Reeves. But prepare for the worst anyway. That's also how we've survived. Outside, the twin suns of Nexus 7 climbed higher in the sky, casting harsh light over the fortress. Inside, humans and Dreckery waited to see if this day would bring a new alliance or the beginning of an interstellar war. 3 hours passed with mounting tension in the Dreckery fortress. Earth soldiers maintained their defensive positions, weapons ready. The approaching Dreckery warships continued their steady advance toward Nexus 7, now just 1 hour away from orbit. In the command center, General Monroe checked the time once again. Any word from our guest? She asked Major Carter. Not yet, Carter replied. He's still in his quarters, presumably considering his options. Lieutenant Reeves monitored the tactical display, watching the red dots of the Dreckery ships grow closer. We should have word from our fleet soon, she said, maintaining the bluff in case any Dreckery were listening. They'll be in position within 30 minutes. Monroe nodded, her face revealing nothing. The truth was that Earth's reinforcements were still hours away. If the approaching Dreckery ships attacked, the humans would be outnumbered and outgunned. The door to the command center slid open, and Commander Vextrol entered, escorted by 2 guards. His posture was straight, his expression determined. I've made my decision, he announced. Monroe turned to face him. And I will order the ships to stand down. I will inform them that the fortress is under joint Earth-Drakari control, pending diplomatic negotiations. Vextrol's 4 eyes fixed steadily on Monroe. But I have conditions. I'm listening. First, your forces will allow a small delegation from the ships to land and verify my well-being. Second, we will send a joint communique to both my government and yours, outlining the terms we've discussed. Third, the Dreckery personnel currently held as prisoners will be released to quarters, though they may remain under guard. Monroe considered these terms for a moment, then nodded. Acceptable. Anything else? Yes. Vextrol stepped closer. I want your personal guarantee that the information regarding our plans for the Arcturus Coalition will remain confidential, while our governments negotiate a formal treaty. You have my word, Monroe said. But understand this. If your government chooses conflict over cooperation, that information becomes fair game. Vextrol nodded. I understand perfectly, General. He gestured to the communications terminal. Shall we contact the approaching ships? Monroe stepped aside, allowing Vextrol access to the Dreckery equipment. He entered his command codes and opened a channel. This is Commander Vextrol of Nexus Fortress to approaching vessels. Authentication code Drektarn79. Hold position and stand down weapons. I repeat, hold position and stand down. The situation here is under control. There was a tense moment of silence before the response came through. Commander, this is Captain Rectal of the warship Claw of Justice. We detected anomalous activity at your position and received an automated distress signal. What is your status? Vextrol looked at Monroe, who nodded encouragingly. Captain, we have made first contact with a previously unknown species. Representatives from the planet Earth are currently at this facility for diplomatic talks. The distress signal was triggered automatically during their arrival, but no hostile action is occurring at this time. Another pause, longer this time. Earth? We have no record of this species in our database. That is because they have been observing galactic affairs from secrecy, Captain. They are technologically advanced and have expressed interest in peaceful relations. I am requesting that you maintain a non-aggressive posture while negotiations continue. The Dreckery captain seemed hesitant. Commander, our scans show numerous non-Dreckery life forms at your location and signs of weapons discharge. Are you speaking freely? Vextrol smiled slightly. I am, Captain. The initial contact was ... energetic, but we are now engaged in productive discussions. I request permission for a delegation from your ship to verify my status and join these historic talks. After another brief pause, Captain Rectal agreed. Very well, Commander. We will maintain position and send a shuttle with a small delegation. But be advised that we remain on alert status. Understood, Captain. We will prepare for your arrival. Vextrol out. He closed the channel and turned to Monroe. They're suspicious, but they'll comply for now. Monroe nodded. Well done, Commander. Lieutenant Reeves, prepare to receive the Dreckery delegation. Honor guard, no visible weapons, but keep security tight. Yes, General, Reeves replied, already moving to carry out the orders. 2 hours later, a Dreckery shuttle landed on the fortress's main platform. 6 Dreckery officers disembarked, led by a senior officer with elaborate insignia on his uniform. Lieutenant Reeves and Sergeant Nichols stood at the head of an honor guard of Earth soldiers, all in formal uniforms rather than combat armor. The Dreckery delegation was escorted to the command center, where Commander Vextrol and General Monroe waited. The senior Dreckery officer, Sub-Commander Lakvar, was clearly surprised to see his commander standing freely beside the human general. Commander Vextrol, Lakvar said, saluting in the Dreckery fashion. We came prepared for a rescue operation. As you can see, Sub-Commander, no rescue is necessary, Vextrol replied. General Monroe, may I present Sub-Commander Lakvar of the Dreckery Imperial Fleet? Monroe stepped forward. Sub-Commander, welcome to what I hope will be remembered as a historic place, the site of first contact between our peoples. Lakvar studied the human with obvious curiosity. Your species is unknown to us, General. How is this possible? A long story, Monroe replied. One that I think is best discussed over a meal. We've prepared a gathering with food safe for both. Our species. The shared meal took place in what had been the fortress's officers' dining hall. Human and Dreckery sat together at the long tables, the initial tension gradually easing as they began to talk. Tech specialist Ward had worked with the fortress's food, synthesizers to create dishes that both species could safely consume. At the main table, General Monroe, Commander Vextrol, and Sub-Commander Lakvar discussed the outline of a preliminary agreement between Earth and the Dreckery Empire. So you've been watching us for decades? Lakvar asked, still struggling to accept this revelation. And others, Monroe confirmed. We detected your transmissions long before we developed faster-than-light travel. We made a strategic decision to learn before revealing ourselves. A wise choice, Vextrol commented. The galaxy can be unwelcoming to newcomers. As the meal concluded, Monroe stood to address the gathered humans and Dreckery. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter for both our peoples. Earth is ready to take its place in the galactic community. The Dreckery Empire has the honor of being the first to officially welcome us. She raised a glass in a toast to peaceful cooperation and mutual respect. The Dreckery, following Vextrol's lead, raised their glasses as well. Later, as the Dreckery delegation prepared to return to their ship with news of the preliminary agreement, Lieutenant Reeves found herself standing beside Commander Vextrel on an observation platform overlooking the alien landscape. "Your soldiers fought well," Vextrel said, breaking the silence. "No one expected humans to appear as you did, raining from the sky with such precision and power. It was impressive." Reeves nodded. "We've been preparing for a long time." "I suspect the galaxy is not ready for humanity," Vextrel mused. "Your arrival will change many things." "For the better, I hope," Reeves replied. "That remains to be seen." Vextrel turned to face her. "But I will say this. I am glad that Earth chose to reveal itself to the Drekari first. Other species might not have been so reasonable." 1 week later, a formal delegation from Earth arrived at Nexus 7. President Gregory Hayes himself led the diplomatic team that would negotiate the final terms of the Earth-Drekari Treaty. The Drekari had sent their own high-ranking officials, including a member of their ruling council. The fortress, once a secret military installation, had been transformed into a joint base and diplomatic center. Above it, ships from both Earth and the Drekari Empire patrolled together, a visible symbol of their new alliance. Lieutenant Samantha Reeves stood in her dress uniform, watching as the human and Drekari leaders signed the historic document. She thought back to that moment when her drop pod had crashed through the fortress roof, when Earth had announced its presence to the galaxy, not with words, but with soldiers raining from the sky. No one had expected humans to show up. But now, number one in the galaxy would ever forget them.